Imagine a place where people are simply waiting for death, praying for a single drop of rain. In this world of utter darkness and starvation, everyone called this 14-year-old boy crazy. They laughed as they watched him spend his days digging through trash at a local junkyard. But they didn't know that inside his head, a plan to do the impossible had already taken root. This is the incredible true story of William Kamkwamba, the boy who built a miracle out of scrap and saved an entire village from certain death.
History is written here. Join the Red Doctrine. Subscribe to see more.
Imagine a world where time has stood still. Malawi, Southeast Africa. There are no power lines, no running water, and the only wealth to be found is the dry red earth. In 1987, a boy named William Kamkwamba was born into a family of poor farmers. His future seemed set in stone, a life of back-breaking labor in the maize fields from sunrise to sunset. But fate had a test in store for him, one that would either break him or turn him into a legend. In 2001, a devastating famine struck Malawi. It was a national catastrophe. The earth cracked into stone, crops withered under a merciless sun, and a hollow, agonizing hunger began to haunt every home. This wasn't just missing a meal, it was a bone-deep emptiness that turned the world dark. William's family was at the epicenter of this hell, where every day became a desperate struggle for a single breath of life. The situation turned critical. William's mother could only prepare food once a day, a tiny portion of nsima porridge shared among the entire family. Hunger was draining their strength, but soon came another blow that cut William to the core. His father didn't have a single cent left to pay for his son's education. On that fateful day, 14-year-old William was publicly expelled from school right in the middle of class. For him, this hurt more than the physical starvation. William believed that school was his only ticket out of poverty. As the classroom doors closed behind him, it felt like the door to his entire future had been slammed shut. But in that moment of utter despair, his true character emerged. Instead of wandering the streets or giving up in tears, William went to the only place when knowledge was free, a tiny community library started by volunteers. The library had only a few shelves, and most of the books were in English, a language William barely understood. But science has its own language, the language of diagrams and blueprints. His eyes were drawn to a tattered physics book titled Using Energy. As he flipped through the pages, he saw a picture of windmills. In that moment, a light bulb went off in his head. He realized something profound. The wind was free energy, and it was all around them. If the wind could spin blades, it could generate electricity, and most importantly, pump water from deep underground. If he could build such a machine, his family would never again have to depend on the mercy of the rain to survive. He had no money for parts, no tools, and zero support. All he had was a crazy idea and an unshakable faith in the laws of physics. William began spending his days at the local junkyard. He scavenged through the dirt, digging through rusted scrap metal and discarded trash. Neighbors shook their heads as they passed by. They laughed and whispered behind his back, "Look at this boy. He's finally lost his mind from the hunger. He's playing with garbage." Even his father looked at him with deep pain and doubt, believing his son was wasting time instead of looking for odd jobs. But William was possessed by his vision. He found an old tractor fan, a rusted bicycle frame, and scraps of plastic pipes. Lacking proper tools, he melted the plastic over an open fire to shape the blades and used heavy stones as hammers. He wasn't just building a strange contraption out of junk.
He was building a lifeline for his family. Every boat he found brought him one step closer to his dream, even as the entire village branded him a madman.
The year was 2002. On the outskirts of the village, a strange, shaky 15-foot tower made of blue gum tree branches and old boats rose into the sky. Trembling with nerves, William climbed to the very top and secured his makeshift creation. A crowd gathered below, not to support him, but to witness the final failure of the crazy kid. Then, a sudden gust of wind kicked up. The blades, carved from old pipes, groaned and began to spin, faster and faster. William connected two thin wires, and right there in his hands, a tiny LED bulb flickered to life. The crowd below fell into a stunned silence. The silence was broken by a collective gasp of wonder. For the first time in the history of this remote village, there was real electric light, created literally from trash and the will of one teenager. It was a miracle that no one could deny.
But that tiny light bulb was only the beginning. William didn't stop there. He refined his windmill to power a water pump. When clean water began to gush from the depths of the dry, dead earth, the Kamkwamba family's life changed forever. Now they could irrigate their fields year-round without waiting for the rainy season. They harvested a double crop, and the ghost of hunger left their home for good. Word of the boy who harnessed the wind spread first through the region, and then across the globe. Journalists arrived, followed by scientists from Europe and the United States. William, who once couldn't afford a few dollars for school fees, was invited to the TED stage and granted a full scholarship to study in America. He went on to graduate from the prestigious Dartmouth College, transforming from a penniless inventor into a world-class professional engineer. Today, William Kamkwamba is a symbol of hope for millions. His autobiography became a bestseller, and Netflix turned his journey into a moving feature film. But William isn't resting on his laurels. He founded a foundation that builds schools and implements solar energy systems in his native Malawi. He returned to give other children the chance he almost lost. His story is a powerful reminder for every one of us. It doesn't matter how dark it is around you, how little money is in your pocket, or how loudly people laugh at your ideas. If you have curiosity, an old textbook, and the will to act, you can perform miracles. William proved that treasures can be found even in a junkyard, and the strongest winds can be forced to work for you. Never give up. Your windmill might be just one step away from completion.